everyone, I'm Ty and welcome to the channel where fear meets fun. Talk about all things horror, making it challenging yet entertaining, and in today's video I'll be going over every single movie that I watched in October.
I'm so scared right now.
Before I get into it, check out my letterbox for my full reviews because in this video I'll be essentially speed running my reviews. The link will be in the description down below, or you can just scan the code on the screen. Okay, I don't know who came up with the term horrorthon, but for me it means to watch a horror film every day of the month of October. And so that's what I challenge myself to do every year. I've done horrorthon in the years of 2022, 2024, and now 2025.
You forgot the pickle!
Don't ask me what happened to 2023, I don't even know. I wanted to start off this year's horrorthon with a series, and what other series is there to pick from than the infamous white-faced man better known as Michael Myers. Yes, that's right, I started off with John Carpenter's Halloween, which came out in 1978. The plot is simple. Michael kills his sister on Halloween night in 1963. Michael escapes from a mental hospital, leaving Dr. Loomis very on edge, and Michael gets the urge to kill again back in Haddonfield, Illinois, because gaining more bodies on yet another Halloween night is on his bucket list. The movie shines in the long shots of Michael just standing, lurking in the background, and it is absolutely creepy. The score is iconic, and the breathing was unsettling. Halloween 1978, I gave a 3.5 out of 5. Halloween 2 came out in 1981 with a different director, Rick Rosenthal, and guess what? Michael wants to kill again. This time, Laurie is in the hospital reeling from her injuries from the first film, and Michael is fixated on killing her because literally why not? I did like this film a bit more than the original just due to the fact that it had a bit more going on. The first film had that slow burn effect, but since Michael has already been revealed to the audience, he's just allowed to be the immortal legend that we know him to be. Except this time, he has an ugly mask.
I am disgusted.
Halloween 2 also got a 3.5 out of 5. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch by director Tommy Lee Wallace. After watching this film, I had to go on Google to understand what I just watched. It's because Halloween was supposed to be an anthology series, but after the flop of this film, they decided Michael was popular because he was, and ultimately made the decision to continue down that path. If you haven't watched it yourself, this film is about dirty Dr. Dan Chalice who decides instead of caring for his children would rather come up with excuses to help this young and attractive girl, Ellie Grimbridge. They both go on a journey to this dodgy town to investigate her father's death, but what they find in this town is more sinister and stupid. Yeah, this movie was stupid. Pure cheeks, 1 star. Who deserves to be lonely when you could just spin the block right back around to who you know that can make you feel unsafe? Yep, Michael is back and back to stay. We have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This film came out in 1988 and was directed by Dwight H. Little. The story takes place 10 years after the first Halloween massacre and captures Michael on Halloween Eve, returning to none other than Haddonfield to kill. No, not Laurie Strode, because Jamie Lee Curtis said, "I'm out of here, peace out, Girl Scout," but his 7-year-old niece, Jamie Lloyd. You might be wondering, where did this niece come from? We don't even have a clue. This film is silly at times, but I love seeing Michael, and Michael did indeed do his due dilly, and to me, that's a win.
I don't care what y'all say, a win is a win.
I ended up giving this movie a 4 out of 5. What can I say? I love the addition of Jamie and Rachel. Next up, we have Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This came out in 1989 and was directed by Dominique, whose last name I will not butcher. Michael emerges from being in a coma for a year, but awakens to the taste of blood and vengeance because no, he doesn't just go back to his hidey hole and go about his day. He has to kill, of course. He makes his way back to Haddonfield on, you guessed it, Halloween to go and kill Jamie, a little girl, mind you, but he doesn't care because he's freaking Michael goddamn Myers. His mask was atrocious to look at, some of the line reads were strange, but this movie had great sound design, and what can I say? Jamie is my sweet baby angel. This movie got a 4 out of 5 in the end because who could say no to that face? 1995 was the year when the world got the disappointment that was Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. You can tell by my cheery tone that this film was all it cracked up to be. We had no Laurie Strode, no Rachel, and no Danielle Harris as Jamie. What's left, you may ask? I guess Dr. Loomis and Tommy Doyle? Yeah, this movie was a mess. My thoughts? Well, let's read part of my review, shall we? Something that I found annoying is where this is the most notable film where they leaned into the cheap jump scares. I don't like the idea of Michael cleaning up the crime scene and removing bodies. I know this was shown in Halloween 5, but I miss when Michael focused on just killing and leaving behind bloodshed. It made his actions less calculated and more in the vein of careless brutality. The information given to the audience in this film just felt senseless and stupid. It's like they just threw caution to the wind and we were left to figure it out.
Boo, you whore.
You could tell in the first 5 minutes that this movie was gonna be cheeks, and it was. Best part of this film was the look of Michael's mask. That's it. 1 star. Halloween H2O 20 years later came out in 1998 and was directed by Steve Miner. It's been 20 years, as you can tell by the title, since Laurie survived the attack of Michael Myers on October 31st, 1978. But what's stopping him from coming back? Laurie thinks changing her name and moving to NorCal is gonna help, but Michael is smarter than that to let her go that easily. This movie establishes that Laurie has a son, John Tate, which I find hilarious because technically Laurie Strode has had 3 different children in 3 different timelines. You have Jamie, who appears in Halloween 4 and 5, John, who appears in this film, and Karen, who exists in the newer Halloween films spanning from 2018 to 2022. I adored the addition of the character Mr. Brennan, and I thought the rest of the film was just okay. It made me giggle at times, had a nice change of scenery, had a lively score, and in the end, I walked away feeling pretty satisfied. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Rick Rosenthal is back in the director chair to deliver us Halloween Resurrection. You could tell it came out in the early 2000s just due to the casting. We not only got Jamie Lee Curtis for a smidge of runtime, but we got celebrity appearances from Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes, who are an interesting pair to say the least. This film follows said pair just trying to put their reality program Dangertainment on the map as they hire some teens to spend a night in the family home of the infamous Michael Myers. But guess what? Things turn deadly when Michael decides he ain't having that. The best part of this film is Busta Rhymes. His angry monologue will always have my heart. But not even Busta Rhymes can save this film as a whole for me. So this got a 1.5 stars out of 5. You might think, is she done with Halloween? No, because I decided to watch Rob Zombie's Halloween that came out in 2007. This is a reimagining of the original Halloween, but make it Rob Zombie. That said, the movie starts with a young Michael Myers at just 10 years old committing his first murder. Then we jump ahead to when he's 27, breaking out of Smith's Grove Sanitarium and heading back to Haddonfield to kill once more. This film had a dark and disturbing narrative, a lot of times made me uncomfy, and the kills were brutal. This version of Michael is just absolutely terrifying, and if I were to be in his path, I'd absolutely just accept my fate or teleport my way out of there. This film's rating, I couldn't rate it because my sanity left the chat and it stressed me out. Nearing the end of my Halloween journey, last but not least, we have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which came out in 2009. Scout Taylor Compton's Laurie Strode and Danielle Harris's Annie Brackett struggle after surviving Michael's deadly attack, but Michael still doesn't give up and comes after anyone in his path to get to Laurie. I liked and preferred the dark, low saturation look of this film. The kills were still brutal, especially one specific kill I won't spoil, but what Michael did to my girl Octavia Spencer? Like, how dare you? You killed Ma. She's an icon. Dr. Loomis, insufferable character, pack it up. It's safe to say that Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is the scariest, and I will not hear any further comments on the matter. Fortunately, I was able to rate this film. I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, I'm just going to group these 2 films together. The first is the 1997 Austrian original, and the second is the 2007 US remake of Funny Games. Both were directed by Michael Haneke, so it only makes sense to talk about them side by side. Each respective film has a different cast, but same sadistic story and an even more bleak ending. Quick version of the plot is a family of 3 in a vacation home and 2 guys indulging in sadistic games for their enjoyment. I hated the antagonists in this film, but like, who didn't? What I disliked more was the editing style. It wasn't for me. It felt like it was dragging its feet, and in both versions I felt the runtime bad. If you love a slow burn, then the concept of funny games might be for you, but it didn't do anything for me. 2 stars. The tagline for this film is Love Hurts, but I'd argue that it should be Lust Hurts. Strange Darling, a 2023 film directed by J.T. Molnar, is next on the list, and its plot even more intriguing yet vague. 2 individuals engage in a one-night stand that leads into something crazier than expected. Bonus points, there is a serial killer involved. This film surprised me and had me captivated throughout the entire runtime. I loved the storytelling choices, the score, the acting of Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald, and man, was the color grading beautiful. I definitely go into this film blind like I did. It was a good time and probably would be a great double feature alongside funny games. I gave Strange Darling a 4 out of 5. Next up, we have to talk about the 2 young missionaries, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton, who visits a strange man to deliver the word of their religion. Their visit turns into a deadly game of cat and mouse as they try to escape the house that is Mr. Reed's residence. I'm talking about 2024's Heretic, directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It was an interesting watch, but ultimately not for me. There were a lot of stylistic choices that I liked and disliked, but the tension, confusion, and deception were there when needed. 2 stars. I felt compelled because everyone who was a fellow film student that I went to university with had watched this, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it too. Yeah, mistakes were made. I'm talking about the movie Eraserhead, released in 1977 and directed by David Lynch. This movie is about a first-time dad, Henry Spencer, who tries to take care of his newborn mutant creature.
Huh?
Yes, you heard that right. This film is peak art house in my opinion, and I have no idea what I watched. It was weird and unique, and surprise, surprise, it got a half star. So 28 Days Later came out in 2002, directed by Danny Boyle. Completely unaware of what's happened, he steps into a deserted London and eventually crosses paths with other survivors trying to make it through the chaos of infected. This film had a great potential to be a 4.5 star rating. Not only do you get attached to its characters pretty fast, it's stressful, gripping, and emotionally unforgiving. The main drawback, though, is that the film loses some of its momentum in the final stretch when a new group of characters is introduced. And for that, this got a 3.5 out of 5. We are skipping 28 Weeks Later because I didn't know it was a film until after I watched 28 Years Later. Speaking of, it came out this year on Netflix and in theaters and was also directed by Danny Boyle once more. The tagline speaks for itself. In 28 days, it began. In 28 weeks, it spread. In 28 years, it evolved. And evolved it did. If you know, you know. All jokes aside, it's been 28 years since the virus took over, and now it's basically locked down in the British Isles. There's a small group of survivors living on an island off the coast, but when a father and son head into the mainland, they discover more than what they are prepared for. My main gripe with this film was the visual stylistic choices that they just decided to go for. I understand that this film was shot on an iPhone, which is equally impressive and yet telling. 1 star. The next few movies I'm gonna run through because the less you know, the better. The Sadness came out in 2021 and was directed by Rob Jabaz. Rob, what is this? And why is the tagline, "It feels wonderful"? Nothing was wonderful about this film. Watch at your own discretion. I couldn't rate this film. It was too wonderful. 2008's Martyrs, directed by Pascal Laugier. This film was dark, depressing, unforgiving, and sad. Again, the less you know, the better. If you love ambiguous horror, then this might be the movie for you. Next up, we have 2021's The Innocents, directed by Eskil Vogt. The only thing I'll say is that this film is about 4 children who befriend each other on summer vacation, but innocent play turns into Stranger Things. I disliked this film's up and down pacing, but what I enjoyed was its ability to build up suspense and tension. 2 stars. Lurking around the corner, we have 2014's Creep and 2017's Creep 2, directed by Patrick Bryce. The main plot of both films is that a creepy guy posts an online ad for video work, and when the hired person comes to do said video work, things take a dangerous, dark turn. Did I mention this guy's a creep? I gave Creep 1.5 stars and Creep 2 a half star for both not being scary and just weird, especially Creep 2. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I wouldn't say this was more horror than it was thriller, but 2 horror icons in one movie? Of course I'm watching.
Yep.
This film came out this year on Hulu and Disney Plus and was directed by Michelle Garza Cervera. This wasn't all it cracked up to be. I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. It made me nervous throughout watching, and even the twist was unexpected, but ultimately this film was its strongest in the final act. For that reason, I gave it a star rating of 2 out of 5. The Witch Part 2, the other one, came out in 2022 and was directed by Park Hoon-jung. There's not much to say other than just go watch the first one. The Witch Part 1, the subversion, was just a better movie, which translates visually and narratively. Part 2 was disappointing to say the least, but hey, at least the kills were fun to look at. 1.5 stars. Another 2022 film, but this time it's The Coffee Table, directed by Kay Casas? I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry. The less you know, the better. Go watch it. It's suspenseful, tension-filled, rage-inducing, and unfortunately uncomfortable all the way through. Another movie that I would definitely say is one of my favorites from Horrorthon. With that said, I just couldn't rate this film. Just know it stressed me out and I liked it on Letterboxd. Crawling into the next one, we got The Descent, which came out in 2005 and was directed by Neil Marshall. The film is about a group of women going on a caving adventure, but the adventure turns into an uh-oh situation when rocks fall and trap them underground. They have to fight to survive and get to the surface before it's too late. Nothing really knocked my socks off, and this wasn't really a memorable watch for me. I thought it was meh. 2 stars. It's not summertime, but I decided to deep dive into I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which came out in 1998 and was directed by Danny Cannon. The plot goes as such. It's been a year since the killing of the fisherman, and Julie is still having visions of him everywhere she goes. Her best friend Carla wins free tickets to the Bahamas through the local radio station hosting a trivia contest. But what's waiting for them in the Bahamas is the opposite of relaxation. Honestly, the best part of this film for me was Brandy's character Carla, because she made Jennifer Love Hewitt's character Julie less bland and uptight. I liked their dynamic, but ultimately throughout watching this film, I just couldn't shake the feeling of just wanting to watch Scream instead. In the end, I gave this movie like a 2.5 star out of 5. I guess. I won't take up most of your time with this horrible movie. Afraid, directed by Chris Weitz. Sorry. Your movie was a waste of my time. This 2024 film is about a family who are tasked with testing out a new home device. Think Alexa, but for better or for worse, but more or less worse. Instead of Alexa, the movie decided to call the digital assistant Aya. Aya is not only a menace to society, but can also control things beyond what's capable and believable. This movie was weird. There's nothing redeemable about it. This was cheeks. 0.5 star. Moving on to another one of my favorite watches of Horrorthon, 2007's Inside, directed by Alexandre Bastillo and Julian Maury. The synopsis of this film is a pregnant woman, Sarah, is chilling in her home. Another woman is on the outside trying to get into said home to take something from her. She's very adamant about it. She's absolutely terrifying. The less you know, the better. Just go watch it, but before you do, check trigger warnings. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. The suspense was suspensing. 4 stars out of 5. May made her debut in 2002 and was directed by Lucky McKee. This film is about a socially awkward woman named May who works at a vet with her comes-on-too-strong lesbian coworker Polly, played by Anna Faris. May gets obsessed with this man who just has the most perfect hands she's ever seen. She becomes fixated on him, among other things. This art house film was interesting, yet everything in this film was lacking for me other than following the character of May. I wouldn't say I liked, loved, or hated this film either. Maybe I just disliked it and existed alongside it. I don't know. 2.5 stars out of 5. Last but not least, it was Halloween night, and what other movie to end off the spooky season than to watch Halloweentown 2, Kalabar's Revenge. I won't even bore you with the details, just know that my heart wanted a decom and my heart got a decom. Solid 3-star movie in my opinion, and yes, I am biased. That's it. That's all that I watched during the month of October during Horrorthon season, and I can't wait till next year.